Hello, viewers. I'm Vibhuti Jha. This is Jaipur Dialogue USA. And just as always, request you to please like, subscribe, and support our channel. Support us every which way possible. Today, as the whole world is talking about, is the debate that happened last night between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Now, the world is full of news uh, that Trump lost, Kamala won. People have called me to say that Trump, to use the American slang, screwed it up, but and Kamala did well. Even Elon Musk made a comment that Kamala did better than expected because the bars were so low. But important part, I watched the whole debate as a very interested element. It was my candidate, Donald Trump, versus the opposition Democratic candidate. But I'm looking at the debate as an impartial today. And impartial because I wanted my candidate to do well, just as in any World Cup cricket match, regardless of India winning or losing, you will always support your team. So remember this element, very important. Who are the actual people who are interested in this debate, and that will determine about who won, who lost. So there are two things that happen in a debate. There is one is a perception battle. The second is the policy battle. The perception battle, in my opinion, I think went to Kamala Harris because she maintained a composure and she maintained a continued aggressive stand in attacking Trump and his record. That was pretty interesting and bizarre because Trump allowed her to do that. Then comes the policy matter. Who is interested in listening to policies? Policies is knowing the personality and what are the likely things to happen. In those matters, I think Trump won. So, in my opinion, in the perception battle, which the whole world is talking about, Kamala won, Kamala won, Kamala won. But when you begin to see this from a perspective that who are the actual listeners to this particular debate, you know this very well that in the American election, it is a very different election than anywhere in the world. The two-party system, people compete in primaries. And primary elections are held to choose the party candidate. That's the important distinction that one needs to make and understand for the rest of the world to view this, to look at it from the perspective. So in the primaries, candidates take the stand which is winning the party nomination for whether it's a state legislature or Congress or Senate. You go by the party agenda. Who is closest to the party voting pattern? That's why they have their internal polling. Who is the likely candidate? Who is the winnable candidate? That's one agenda. The second one comes when the party nominees are selected and there is debate for the actual position, whether it's a president, Congress, or Senate. That's the time when the people who decide who they will vote for, they decide in the debates, in the exchanges that happen closer to the election. So these debates are actually meant for the candidates to showcase how centrist they are, to talk to the people in the middle, people who are undecided, and independents. These are the people who are more policy driven. They are looking for policy content of every candidate because they know that in terms of the party rhetoric, they have already won that vote. So believe me when I say this, that every single Democrat will vote for Kamala Harris, Republican will vote for Donald Trump. Exceptions are the Bushes, the Romneys, the Paul Ryans, the Dick Cheney, that gang, which has always been against Trump because Trump calls them out. So that's important part. So now look at it this way. What happened in the debate? One thing emerged very clearly that, the ABC lost it. In my opinion, ABC played a bad referee and they definitely managed the debate in favor of Kamala Harris. It is reported that the CEO of ABC is very close to Kamala and her family. And there are already rumors began to float that it almost looked like that Kamala Harris knew what questions were coming and she was ready to respond. Now, the second element that I wanted to mention here, in terms of policies, Trump scored very well in terms of policy enunciation. The ABC correspondents were asking, he also avoided certain traps, but he also fell for the baits that came in the debate. So, I will tell you, two traps which were so remarkably visible that not once but twice, that's where you see the bias comes in. The ABC correspondent twice asked Trump, who do you want to win the war, Ukraine or Putin? Twice. So when you ask a question twice, that means you are trying to provoke and evoke a response so that it puts the candidate in a bluster. Trump answered both the times that he wants the war to end. Right? This was very, very critical. The other thing that was talked about Kamala Harris's color, and he said, I don't care what color she has. That's it. The other element also was very important that one of the reporters asked the debate inquiry person who asked, lady, I think it was a lady who asked, do you have a plan? You have always opposed Obamacare. Do you now have a plan? I think Trump handled it very well by saying he did not. I think that's one area which I think Trump missed out by saying that I have a concept ready and I will do it when the time ready. But if I were the debater, I would have said, yes, my plan is ready because the plan is indeed ready. The plan is ready. He needed to say that these 2 minutes are not enough to let you know my entire medical plan. That would have been a smarter response to that. And he would have said, I do not want Obamacare bill to be passed and Nancy Pelosi talking about what's in the bill. We will know after the bill is passed. He should have said that I want people to know what's in the bill before they vote. These are some strategic inputs in the debate that Trump missed out. The other element which is very significant is that while the debate was managed by the ABC, who failed very badly, they did themselves and the media a bad name. And now that need not come as a surprise, which is what I always say. We always talk about Shatru Bodh and Purva Paksh. Trump ought to have known, and he knew about it, that ABC is a totally anti Trump network. They have always gone to attack him one way or the other. Having accepted their, what you call the agenda or the agreement to be had, he had to be prepared more viciously, more determined, and more comfortable about it. He needed to be very smart about that. We are entering the match. You have entered into the terms and conditions. You knew the referee, and you had to play a smarter game. So he made a position clear. He made it very clear he was not going to attack Kamala in a personal capacity for two reasons. One is she's a woman and she is brown and black, as the claim she makes all the time. He chose not to attack her completely. This is what Kamala knew, and she went on attack on him. It is absolutely unfortunate that Trump's record, which is I have always said here, the Trump's record is right in front of the people. Lowest inflation, highest level of jobs for every single category of people, massive investments, economy in the boom. Kamala Harris attacked him that he messed up the economy. He needed to defend that better. All right. COVID caused the disruption in American economy. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. But that was not Trump's creation. Pandemic was an extraordinary scenario. You know and I know where it happened, who did it, and how it went how it destroyed many countries and loss of life of 7 million people. The other part, which is also important, he needed to be more sure that I need not talk about He should have said, and if I were there, I would have told him to say it. I, Donald Trump, do not need Kamala's endorsement for my economy and the performance that my presidency did. The question is, how did you do it? And here is the part that Trump needed to deliver, right? You were the border czar. You did not go to border even once, except for one perfunctory visit. And when you were asked, you said, I have not gone to Europe either. She abdicated her responsibility. So Trump's statement to her that you can do a lot of things and that you can go back and do it. What are you trying to do about it? Was pretty powerful. So Trump also said, because of her flip-flop on policies, he said that I will give you my MAGA hat. These were some very interesting pointers to the policy-based discussions. Immigration is a disaster. Lawlessness is a disaster. Crime is a disaster. And this is where the important part, he also pointed out that 818,000 jobs suddenly went out of data. They were completely false data. So when the interviewer began to say that crime data has fallen, Trump immediately pointed out, yeah, the data is not being reported. The categorization of data has changed. So in all, I feel that this debate, Trump could have delivered the knockout punch to Kamala Harris. He let her survive. He let her survive only because he seemed tired. That's why I say in the perception battle, Kamala came out ahead because the expectations from her were so low. And that Democratic Party is very tactically smart about. You lower the expectation, then everything above looks extraordinary. In the case of Trump, if I were Trump, I would have said, you know my record. Great economy, lowest inflation, and what Biden inflation and shrinkflation has done is really true. I can tell you this, that in Patel Brothers, when I went to buy Sabudana Khichdi ka dabba, believe it or not, it used to be this. I have the pictures of that. I will post it on my Twitter again. That there was a time when we used to pay $6.50 for that dabba of Sabudana Khichdi. It's half now, or if two-thirds size. When my son went to get Thai food, the green curry that he bought was half the size. So Bidenflation and shrinkflation both were working, and Trump did not attack it as effectively as he could. So let me tell you this, reiterate once more time. The debates are designed to address those people who are undecided, independents, and undecided independents, and those people who are sitting on the fence. Those people are there because they don't subscribe to either or party's extreme stand or positions. They look at the policy, they look at the prescription as to who will deliver a better thing. One last thing I wanted to add here. This is very important. And that important thing is that Kamala Harris was ranting away for future democracy, constitution, and dictatorship of Trump. Trump ought to have done this better because he needed to ask, even though the interviewers were not asking any questions on these matters, he needed to ask or make a statement, and I would make that statement. What future of America are you talking about? He ought to have said the future of socialism, Marxism, leftism, elitism, and Islamism. That's the future that Kamala Harris is taking America towards, right? This is a very important part which Trump missed out on. If he had delivered that, the entire theme of Kamala Harris's program, that I am talking about the future in a highly emotional way, she was talking about that I am talking about the future, and that you will be a dictator. And Trump should have said very clearly, that my tenure proves that I'm not a dictator, nor did I start a war. But he was sharp enough to tell her, when she said that he hobnobs with dictators, he said, Hey, Putin endorsed you because he knows he can dance around you and make you play to the tune just as he did with others. So, ladies and gentlemen, the assessments are subjective. I have tried to point out to you the obvious game plan. You need Trump needed to be smarter. He could have delivered the blowout punch to Kamala Harris, but he didn't. Now, what was interesting is that Kamala Harris camp said, "We will do another. Let's do another," which is very interesting because the next one will be with Fox, and Fox is not ABC. It's not a liberal thing. They try to be as fair and balanced as possible, which is their caption. I'm not reliant upon that part because there are people in Fox who are anti-Trump. If you watch them, you will know about that as well. So the point is, why is she insisting on the second debate? If you have won it, why do you want the second one? Now they have felt that they can beat Trump. And that's very interesting. I'm looking forward to that October debate if it were to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at the independents, the neutrals, the undecided people. How did they shape up in this debate? The hardcore Republican, hardcore Democrat didn't matter. That's the critical part. Thank you very much for watching. We will meet again. Until then, Satyameva Jayate, truth must triumph. Thank you for watching.